Meet ChunkRand0m, my brand new chunk-locked Ironman. Fresh off a tutorial island, ChunkRand0m is in for a crazy and unpredictable adventure that no one, myself included, could possibly be prepared for. This account is like many other chunk-locked accounts. I have to stay in my unlocked chunks. I need to complete the highest skilling challenges as well as any diary tasks and quests that are possible. I'll need to kill every new creature and obtain all of their unique drops. And lastly, I'll need to fully complete any mini-games that I run into along the way. Sounds simple enough, right? Well, here's the twist. On the normal Chunk Iron account, once I complete my current chunk, I would roll randomly to select an adjacent chunk to continue on. However, on this account, I'll be rolling a random chunk from the entire map. For example, if I start in Lumbridge, once I complete all the tasks there, I'll roll a new chunk, and it may be Varak, Karamja, Yanil, or hell, even a random chunk in the wilderness. Unlike on most chunk accounts, I'll be allowed to travel between the chunks, but I won't be allowed to interact with anything in locked chunks along the way. Rolling random chunks is going to keep things incredibly interesting. Completing most simple quests is going to require insane RNG. Take Cook's Assistant for example. Most players would require these 3 chunks to complete this task. But what are the chances that I roll the chunks required out of all 3,347 old school RuneScape chunks? Simple quests like Cook's Assistant may take me months or even longer to complete. But when I do, it's going to be a massive achievement. The random chunks are also going to help keep the series thrilling as well. Around every corner could be the next death chunk, interesting grind, or massive unlock, and we'll have no way of knowing until I click to roll the new chunk. And as far as interesting goes, my starting chunk doesn't even have a bank, so who knows when I'll get access to one. It could be years. It's all up to RNGesus now. No one has ever done this as far as I can see, and so as the pioneer of this chunk-locked account type, and with all that boring stuff out of the way, let's go explore my new home, Chunk 12083, the South Fally Farm. Alright, here we are in the South Fally Farm, and, well, this guy's ruining my intro here. Who are you? Warrior873. Looks like some kind of splashing bot or something like that ran out of runes, or I don't know. But either way, here we are, like I said, in the South Fally Farm, and, yeah, this is kind of what the chunk looks like. You would have seen this in the intro, of course, things along those lines. But I figured the first thing to do is kind of to just take a look around the chunk and kind of get familiar with what I have here, what's to offer, and also so that you guys can see everything that I have available to me. Unless you play a chunk account, you kind of really don't understand what's in a chunk, because you don't really think about it when you play RuneScape, generally. We're going to head over this way. We are very close to Drainer, but not close enough, obviously, which is okay. I don't need to go to Drainer. I'm happy where I'm at. Over here we do have a little bit of a sliver up here north that I could theoretically get to, but unfortunately not really, because this bush is in the way. I mean, I could go around, but that would drag me out of the chunk. There's no way to go through that bush, but not very important for us, honestly. Here on the right, obviously, cabbages. Lots and lots of cabbages that'll be really important in a grind later on. And we got this guy right here in the green pants looking great. What's his name? Captain Talk, yeah, so he'll be important for the quest that starts in this chunk. We got a highwayman over here. There's 2 highwayman spawns in this chunk, and I'll be seeing those guys later on. I'm going to stay away for now because they will murder me at this point in the game. Heading on inside the farm building itself here, which is going to be really critical. We have Sarah, obviously, who has a farming store that I could buy many different farming supplies and things like that from. Once I get some money, which is going to be a really important thing. There's a loom, obviously, there. And then we head back in this way. There's some chickens, some eggs, things along those lines. Also, this right here is the butter churn, or the dairy churn, as they call it in-game. That'll be really, really important in one of my major grinds in the chunk later on. A bucket spawn. That bucket spawn is going to also be very important, because like I said, there's no real way to earn money. Nothing that I get. Nothing that I can get from like the cows or things like that, or anything that I can sell to the store, so I'm going to have to find another way to make money. Dairy cow. Lots of regular cows, of course, as well. A pig pen, which I never really thought about this in RuneScape, but these pigs are pointless. They're just there for show. You literally can't do anything with them. Interesting. Yeah, also over here we have imp spawns, as you can see right there. So I'll be fighting lots of imps to complete the drop table, which is one of the things I'll have to do to complete this chunk. And that's going to be just a lot of RNG. Jumping over the style here, obviously we have a farming area, which is great. So one of the tasks that I have to do in this chunk are to plant and I think harvest a cabbage. So I'm going to have to get 7 farming by raking these fields. Alright, here at Sarah's store, we're going to check out and see what she has to offer, but she's going to be really important for me. So you can see we can't really buy any food or anything from her, which is fine. We can buy many different supplies, which is going to be really, really critical. And this is going to be where my main money source is going to come from in the beginning as well. But a rake, we're going to need a rake for sure. At the bottom of my screen there, you can also see I completed an easy task in the fallow door area. So that's the first chunk task unlocked, or the first chunk task completed, I should say. And if we head out this way, we're actually going to complete another chunk task right off the bat, just to kind of get the easy ones out of the way. That's going to be talking to Captain Talk over here, who I mentioned earlier. So we click on him, and this is basically the start to the Corsair Curse quest. I don't have to do anything for the quest, really just have to talk to this guy, watch a quick cutscene, and then it's over. But because I can start it here, because I have the requirements to do so, I have to go ahead and do that to get it out of the way. So yes, I want to start the quest. Sure, I'll help you with your curse. And here's the cutscene. Yep, ship more west of Remington, which I can never get access to, and, well, I can get access to eventually, but it's going to probably be a long time before I roll that specific chunk. And, yeah, that's it. So he's gone, I've started the quest, that's the second chunk task out of the way. And now it's time to kind of get started really grinding some of the things in the chunk. By the way, while we're talking about these chunk tasks, why don't we take a look at exactly what I'm going to have to do to complete this chunk. The chunk tasks for the South Fally Farm are by no means insane or challenging, but they will be interesting for sure. So here are the chunk tasks that I'll need to complete to continue my adventure. Number 1, browse Sarah's farming shop for the Fally Diary. And number 2, start the Corsair Curse quest. Both of which I already completed, so hell yeah, we've already made some progress. After that, I'll have to obtain my best in slot gear, which will mean a black cape from the Highwaymen, a blue wizard hat from Imps, and finally my best in slot weapon, unarmed. Yeah, that one is done by default. So yeah, more progress. Now outside of killing every mob in the chunk, which will be a bit more difficult than you think, and completing all the drop tables, there are 2 skilling tasks that I'll need to achieve. Number 1, grow a cabbage, which will require me to rake weeds until 7 farming. Although the problem there is that, really, I don't know where to get cabbage seeds in this chunk. Do you? I can't buy them, and none of the mobs drop them. Well, you'll find out later, and I bet you'll be surprised. However, by far the biggest challenge in this chunk is to churn cheese, requiring 48 cooking. Now you may be saying, wait, 48 cooking is not hard at all. And you'd be right, normally. I've got cows and chickens readily available to slaughter for meat, but for the life of me, I cannot figure out how to cook them. There are no cooking ranges, no fires, there's no way to get an axe and cut down trees. And a thorough searching of the wiki yielded almost no results. At 21 cooking I can start making cream, but by no means am I lamping my way to 21 cooking. There is definitely a way to train it, and if you've spotted the method already, make sure to comment down below. Now with the tasks out of the way, let's grab some starting money. So yeah, this is pretty much the only way I can think of to collect money in this chunk. None of the mobs drop any money, and the stores don't really buy too many objects that I can get a hold of. So I'm basically just sitting here collecting buckets, and I'm going to sell them to the store, buy a rake, and kind of get started that way. But I think, the farming is the first thing I want to get knocked out of the way, so it's really important that I just get this right off the bat so I can have this. So let's check here. Okay, bucket sells for 1. Do they keep selling for 1? They should never sell for 0, right? But just to be sure. Yeah, okay. How much is a rake? Don't have enough coins. Okay, the value 6 coins. I need 2 more buckets. Alright. 2 more buckets coming in hot. So if we sell these, we can buy a rake. We can get started on the farming grind. I don't think it's going to take too long to get to 7 farming, but it's definitely something I want to get started on right away so I can do it kind of like in between other grinds. I'm going the wrong way here. We should be able to get a decent bit of farming experience coming in. Just kind of like on the side between like fighting cows and those other kind of things I'm going to definitely have to do on this grind. But yeah, this is pretty much just a really boring grind. I don't think anybody wants to sit here and watch me collect weeds for, 5 hours. Maybe you do. If you do, let me know, but I don't think anybody wants to watch that, so we'll make a quick cut here. Alright, 1 round of weed farming done. I'm going to pop this in the compost bin here. And once I turn this into compost, I'll actually be able to sell that for more money at the shop. So that's a good goal to work towards. Oh, first random on the account is the dunce. That is amazing. That is absolutely amazing. I've just been kind of AFKing there waiting for more weeds to grow, and almost didn't even catch this guy. Alright, first book of knowledge on the account. I'm going to pop that down in the right corner there and just kind of save it for later on. Probably going to go in agility, but I'm not 100% sure yet. So let's get back to farming more weed. Alright, 1 more wave of weed farming done. And as soon as this pops my inventory, I'm going to pop these in the composter bin there, or the compost bin, and eventually sell that for money once it's finished. Just a waiting game at this point. Just a waiting game. There we are. Alright, I'm going to pop all these in there. There we go. Close the lid. And that's farming done for a bit now. I'm going to get onto another grind. But before I do that, there's one important thing I really want to do. I'm going to stand over here, and I'm really close to level 2 farming, so I'm going to let this regrow and just, get level 2 farming. There we are. First level on the account. Done. Level 2 farming. And I can now grow marigolds, if only I could get them. Next grind is killing cows. And I'm just really excited that I can get started on some combat training, because I think combat's going to unlock a lot of things further down the line once I get into other chunks. And it's going to be a pretty massive grind on this account as well, because I've got to fund the 48 cooking somehow. Again, have not figured out how I'm going to actually cook the meats yet at this point, but I know I'm going to have to collect a lot of them to get it going. So, first cow kill is done. So we got some raw beef cowhide bones. I'm not going to go too crazy on the bones. I'll bury them when I get them, but I'm not going to try to get like level 50 prayer or something off of regular bones, because you never know what I'm going to roll in the next chunk. However, cow is looking a little bit dangerous right now, so I'm going to go fight some chickens before I really move over to the cows, because they should be easier, quicker, and get me a couple more levels. So, I'll be here for a little bit, and I think this is a good opportunity. I think there's a lot of grinding ahead of me, some very boring grinds. So instead of just showing you guys, I thought I'd make it a little bit more interesting. I've been killing all the cows and farming some weed down here at South Fally Farm. Kicking some chickens and stealing all the cabbages and chili just waging some war. Slapping them ends, collecting the drops, the grind here never stops. ChunkRand0m's adventure is getting it started here on the South Fally Farm. South Fally Farm, where the cows all roam. South Fally Farm, it's my chunk locked home. Fighting and grinding, I'm raising the alarm down here on the South Fally Farm. Alright, my first bit of compost is finished, so I picked up a couple buckets from the spawn over there, and I'm just going to fill these up. I don't actually need these, like they're not going to really do me any good right now, but I'll take the experience. It's good experience gains. And also, this is going to be my main source of income in this chunk. Now, I don't need a lot of money, but I'm going to need at least a little bit for buying buckets later on and things like that. And a couple of farming supplies. So I'm going to go ahead and sell these to Sarah. See how much these sell for. Oh, 79. Okay, not bad. Okay, so time for a quick segment that I'll be calling Did You Know? Which will probably show up a lot in this series, as I learn random information and facts needed for my chunk block grinds. To kick this segment off, did you know that picking a cabbage has about a 1 in 35 chance to give you a cabbage seed instead of a cabbage? Because I certainly didn't. I've never picked this many cabbages in RuneScape in my life, but this is the only method in my chunk to get seeds for completing this chunk task. So let's see how long it takes me. about 5 minutes. Could have been much worse for sure. And now that I had my seeds, all I needed was 7 farming to plant them so that I could watch them like a hawk and get another minor chunk task out of the way. But in the meantime, I'd be killing cows. Or at least that was the plan. When I'm not getting dunce randoms. Kinda crazy that the first 2 randoms on this account were both dunces. But this presented a problem, because you can only have 1 book of knowledge in your inventory at a time. So I quickly decided to funnel all of my lambs into agility for this account, and did so with both books before making an amazing discovery. Which brings us to the next Did You Know segment of this episode. Did you know that you can cook meat, fish, and seafood on a fireplace in houses across Gielinor? After racking my brain and searching everything possible on the wiki to see if I can get an axe in this chunk, which I can't by the way, I just randomly decided to try using this fireplace out of desperation, and yeah, it just worked. These fireplaces have the same burn rate as a regular fire, and as I said earlier, they only allow cooking of meats, fish, and seafood. No cakes, pies, breads, etc. Now it's hilarious to imagine someone just cooking steak in their fireplace at home in real life, but here in RuneScape, it's perfectly fine. Too bad they can't make me a good cook though. With some cooked food in my inventory, I decided to try and take on a highwayman to see how it would go. And it went way worse than expected. I was chowing through food and barely managed to take even one of them out. However, in the end this was a great success and I unlocked my current best in slot cape, which I followed up by getting my current best in slot headpiece, a blue wizard hat, thus completing 2 chunk tasks in about 5 minutes. ChunkRand0m was on a roll. Alright, now let's talk about my best in slot weapon. As I said at the beginning of this video, my best in slot weapon for the chunk is unarmed. But that's not technically true. I do have access to a weapon, but it doesn't spawn in my chunk, so it's not really a chunk task. However, I will be testing my luck to see if I can get this upgrade, which as far as I can tell is the only way I'll be able to kill a duck to complete the chunk. More on that later. So with a full inventory of food, I went to the northwest corner of the farm and took on my first Falador guard. It didn't go well. And so with 1 HP, I ran away in fear, but I'd be back for the 1 out of 121 dagger drop. For the time being, I decided to focus on the farming skill, and it wasn't long at all until I hit 5 farming. And after letting some compost do its thing, I even reached level 7, and I could finally plant these cabbage seeds, which I would be watching over like a newborn child. I was not leaving this allotment until... Okay, I left the allotment. But only to abuse the chest in this maze for a bit and gather some potions for killing the guards. And after never leaving the allotment, my cabbages, which tried their best to die on me, were finally harvestable. And that was another chunk task down, and the end of my farming grind until I could get better access to seeds. Combat was also slowly coming along, although my attempts at flinching guards were mostly painfully slow endeavors, and the stupid imps were trolling me as hard as they could. But on the bright side, cooking was going swimmingly. I even reached 21 and got access to the dairy churn. Except that churning cream is insanely awful and slow. Like, have any of you ever done this? Let's just watch this process so you can feel my pain. Step 1. Fill up buckets with milk. Each bucket of milk takes about 2 seconds. Step 2. Run to the dairy churn and start making pots of cream, which takes 6 seconds each. Watching from this angle and hearing that sound almost makes you feel like he's doing something else. But let's keep this family friendly. Step 3, and maybe the most important step. Pick up your buckets, because they'll be dropping on the ground and will eventually despawn. If you AFK too long, you have to either buy more buckets or pick them up from the spawns here. Step 4, repeat. Over and over and over and over and over again. But don't worry, at level 38 I can start making pats of butter, which is the same process, but they take over 11 seconds per bucket at the churn. Yeah, this is going to be a painful grind. But at least it's not 99 construction with potted plants or 99 wood cutting on regular trees. That would be truly terrible. Don't worry though, because I won't put you through that torture. Let's just say the end of November involved a lot of this for me. I guess No Nut November failed? Either way, well over 1,000 buckets of milk later, and the day finally came. No, not the cheese making day, unfortunately. I died to a guard, and I had to do the walk of shame back to my chunk. But I came back with a vengeance, determined to get that sweet, sweet iron dagger. And well, I'll just let the live audio tell you how I felt when I got it. I don't think I have enough to finish both these guys off, but we'll see. Oh, we got him. Yes! Yes! Iron dagger! Yes! Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm so happy. Oh, it's murdering time now. With that out of the way, let's make some actual progress. Here's 48 cooking. I can finally make cheese, and I'm free of this grind. And I cannot be more excited. Oh wait, I have one bucket less than I needed. I'll be right back. And the chunk task is done. Now to wrap up the last few things I have to do, and finally roll my next chunk. Alright, so here is the chunk picker with my current map. And with 48 cooking done, that leaves me with just a few things to collect from some drop tables. So from the highwaymen, I have iron bolts, 1 out of 20. And from the imps, bread dough, bread, clay, cooked meat, egg, a flyer, jug, pot of flour, and a potion. A couple 1 out of 128s there. And then I also have to kill a duck, which I'm going to save for last. But yeah, that's it. That's what I got to do to finish the chunk, so let's get to it. The grinding began, and I quickly got some clay. And an egg. After that, I spent some time world hopping for highwaymen. Probably the first person in history to ever say that. But eventually got the 1 out of 20 drop after only 70 kills. Nothing like going triple drop rate on a meaningless item. I then received a raw chicken from an imp, which isn't even on my chunk tasks, but it's certainly a drop from them. After searching the wiki, I definitely confirmed that. Kinda weird. I then got the pot of flour, and finally my first 1 out of 128 drop, a potion. And for the final time, that brings us to, did you know that this potion, simply called potion, is an untradeable item received from only 3 sources in the whole game? Imps, Gauntlet reward chests, and the Varrock Apothecary when asking for a free sample. Outside of the Forgotten Tale of a Drunken Dwarf quest, this potion can only be used on Sophanum civilians prior to Beneath Cursed Sands to get some amusing conversations. Very odd. During that segment, I also got a jug, and shortly after got a flyer, and then finally some bread dough. Somewhere along the lines, I also got some bread, which I promptly ate. But trying to find that clip in about 5 hours of imp killing proved nearly impossible. With all of those out of the way, the only thing left was a piece of cooked meat at a 1 in 128 chance. And quite a while later, I was starting to think I'd never get this last drop. But at like 2 in the morning, I was sitting in a Discord call with my friend Kippy, when this happened. Every kill I go in, I'm like, this is gonna be the one! And then it's not. There's my 30 billionth bucket. Man, I really do wish I could get like loot tracker on these guys.
Yeah, I'm super surprised that it's not that, man. Maybe.
Oh wait, no, wait, it is on here. Wait a second. Kippy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna share my screen with you.
Go on.
Kippy, take a look at it.
Why did it start tracking now though?
I must have had imps hidden because I clicked the eye and it took him away. Kippy,
yeah.
Take a look at it again.
Yep. Oh my god. 77 highwaymen.
Kippy, take a look. Take a look at the imp drops again.
Oh my god, you got a burnt meat.
Kippy.
Actually, you got cooked meat.
I got a cooked meat from the imps already.
When?
I don't know. I don't know. I've been doing this grind for nothing. I'm honestly not sure when it happened, but yeah, at some point I got the meat. I scrubbed through a bunch of recordings and couldn't find it, but considering I had cooked meat in my inventory as food, it was like looking for a needle in a haystack. But I'll take the loot tracker confirmation and just kind of move on with my life. Now there was only one task left to do at this point. Kill a duck. I've been waiting for this one. I've been saving this to the very end. You see, you can't punch or kick ducks. According to the wiki, you need a weapon, which is the reason I was trying my hardest to get a dagger. So if you go here and I don't have the dagger, I can't attack the duck. Like I can't reach that, he says. If I click the dagger. Wait.
Right?
What? This was my whole thing.
This needs to be recorded.
This is being recorded. Wait, how am I gonna kill the duck? Well, I was half right. According to the wiki, you can kill them with a melee weapon. But it has to be a normal melee weapon. Whatever that means. Guess my dagger isn't long enough. But it's really about how you use the dagger at the end of the day, right? With that, my chunk was complete, and it was time to roll a new chunk. And I'm sure some of you are wondering why I picked a relatively easy chunk for the starting chunk. But it's all because I wanted to roll a new chunk in this video for proof of concept, so that everybody kind of understands how things work with this account. Before I roll, there is one thing to note here, and that's that while many of the chunks are going to be very interesting and there's great things that I could unlock by rolling those chunks, there's also a decent chance for a dead chunk, and by that I mean one with no new content. So if I roll a chunk with no new tasks, I'll roll another one to continue the adventure. Now, what kind of chunk am I hoping for? Well, a bank would be nice. That's an obvious one. A bank would be super nice, of course. Gear upgrades would also be really awesome. I'm running around with an iron dagger and that's basically it. But I think the big thing I would love access to is a low-level agility course to grab some easy early levels. Run energy is killing me at the moment. But without further ado, let's roll it. Let's see where ChunkRand0m is headed next. Here we go. Okay. What's it gonna be? Oh, I'm super nervous. The West Eagles Peak.
What is that?
There's no chunks. There's no tasks there, so that's like the
I guess
to the west of Eagles Peak. So there's no tasks there. So my only task is to kill a duck.
Yeah. Fair enough.
So we're rolling another chunk.
Let's see what we get. Okay, this time it has to be something good.
It's bear. It's bear.
Well, okay. Good thing is you get a bank.
Alright, so it looks like I'm heading to Varrock from here, which is where I'll be picking up in the next video. Before we wrap up though, let's take a look at my stats. I didn't show too many of the combat levels in the video, but I managed to get some decent melee levels. 38 strength, 20 attack and defense, and 30 HP is pretty solid, I would say. The 21 repair came in right at the end when I was killing a good 300 imps for nothing, but I can't complain too much. I'm sure that'll come in handy very soon. At the end of the day, I wrapped up with a total level of 201. I do still have the lingering duck task, which I'll be able to solve when I get to Varrock, but if any of you out there have another way to kill ducks in this specific chunk, please let me know. I've scoured the internet and I have found nothing. But that's it, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the first video in this series. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe, and also comment down below to help this video get out there to more people. I'd really appreciate it. Also, any feedback for future videos in this series would be very welcome, so let me hear it. I'm already on the Varrock grind train as I edit this, so keep an eye out for episode 2 coming soon. Bye.